I ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism, is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
I ask you tonight, do you think Donald...
Good morning, Owasso. This is Chad with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Yeah, we already showed that video yesterday, but it just can't be brought up enough that the left does not play by the same rules that the right does. They will constantly lie and say things and amp up the rhetoric and then turn right around and say that it's the right's fault that all this hatefulness is happening. It's like, where is the equivalent of the assassination attempts on political figures on the right? The only three things that they can point to are January 6th, the kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer, and the Josh Shapiro house burning incident, which they'll lie about those things because the Josh Shapiro house burning incident was done by a pro-Palestinian activist because Josh Shapiro is, of course, Jewish. And according to like the LDA and all these other places, that Palestinian protesters aren't right-wing, they're left-wing. But they'll lie and say that it was right-wing. And then the same thing with the Gretchen Whitmer case is it was the FBI, CIA, and NSA that were all not working together, that were three different organizations that literally kind of pushed this one kind of crazy guy into, like, you know, he was just like, they're just drinking beers with this guy and like saying, yeah, we would do a crazy thing. And then they try to force him into doing it. So there is no equivalent of this on the right at all. But the left constantly tries to push that narrative with the January 6th people and everything else that's going on. But today we're going to talk more about what's going on in the Charlie Kirk trial. Like, the kid had his hearing the other day, and we're just going to kind of talk about that. And we've got so much to get into again. Like, I've got so much means, but we're just going to be talking about how Charlie Kirk's death seems to be pushing us into a civil war scenario, unfortunately. And it's sad and unfortunate, but that's part of the reason why I joined the Oklahoma National Guard over choosing any other branch after Donald Trump got elected, because I was seeing the writing on the wall of, hey, this could end up being like a civil conflict. After they started shooting just random Donald Trump supporters in the streets, even back in Donald Trump's first term, I knew something was up. And if there was something that does happen, which I don't want there to be a civil war, but if there was something that happened, I wanted to be at home. I wanted to be on Oklahoma's side, not be sent overseas or in some other state when something like this does go down. That's part of the reasoning why I decided to join the Oklahoma National Guard versus going active duty. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to talk about the first thing today, which is more than 20 people who talked about Charlie Kirk's shooting on Discord chat room under FBI investigation, says Kash Patel. Washington FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed Tuesday that a lot more than 20 people are either under investigation or already have been interrogated by federal investigators for discussing Charlie Kirk's assassination on Discord chat room. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican, I think that's Missouri, passed Patel during the Judiciary Committee hearing on Capitol Hill, and that it's a lot more than that, Patel revealed. We're running them all down. Did Mr. Kirk's Assassin Act alone? Senator Kennedy, Republican, Louisiana, subsequently asked Patel during the oversight hearing. There are a number of individuals that are currently being investigated and interrogated, and a number yet to be investigated and interrogated related to the chat room, Patel answered. So, others could have been involved, Kennedy inquired. Yes, Mr. Patel replied. Yes. What's going on here? Looks like, there we go. Okay. FBI testimony confirmed that some of the details on Monday's Washington Post, that the accused assassin Tyler Robinson confessed to fatally shooting Charlie Kirk, 31, in a Discord chat room of around 30 people. Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. Robinson, 22, message reported channel members about 2 hours after the assassination, according to the outlet. It was me at Utah Valley University yesterday. I'm sorry for all this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've been amazing. Thank you all for everything. The Discord reps previously claimed in a statement there was no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or to promote violence on their platform. Police identified, here's the latest update on the Utah shooting. Police identified 22-year-old Tyler Robinson as the alleged assassin who fatally shot Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University on September 10th. Robinson, who was charged with aggravated murder felony, discharged a firearm, causing the serious bodily injury and obstruction of justice. The law enforcement confirmed that Robinson was living with a transgender roommate. Communications between the two helping the feds catch the alleged assassin. Kirk, 31, Turning Point USA creator, was attending an event on this American Comeback Tour when he was fatally shot in the neck by a single shot. President Trump was among many who have called for the assassin to receive the death penalty. Kirk's body was brought to Arizona from Utah in Air Force Two, accompanied by the Vice President J.D. Vance, and taken to Phoenix Hanson Mortuary Chapel. Kirk's funeral, which President Trump has promised to attend, is scheduled for September 21st at State Farm Stadium, home of the Arizona Cardinals. Kirk, rising MAGA star, is survived by his wife and 2 children. Robinson was charged Tuesday with 7 counts, including aggravated murder, felony discharge of firearm, and serious bodily injury to justice. Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray confirmed to reporters that announcing the charges that he would seek the death penalty. Utah is one of 5 states where a murderer can still face a firing squad. Cox maintains remarks to the press, relatives, communications to the investigators that Robinson has been radicalized by leftist ideology and discussed Kirk's September 10th appearance at the Orem campus in the days leading up to it. In the announcing of the charges, Gray confirmed that Robinson's mother had told investigators her son had moved to the left politically over the last year or so and became more pro-gay and trans-oriented. Gray also confirmed that Robinson's texted his roommates and were romantic partner, a man in the process of transitioning after the shooting of Kirk. I have had enough of this hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. In addition to Robinson's Discord chat room, federal law enforcement have been probing whether pro-trans online groups, furry fixated, I don't know how to say, Netsian, or users on the gaming platform Steam were aware of his plans to assassinate Kirk, the co-founder of the largest conservative youth organization, Turning Point USA. Armed Queers SLC, one far-left group, took down its Instagram page after Kirk was shot and killed. Interesting. The husband and father of 2 was answering questions about transgender mass shooters moments before the bullet struck his neck. Before he was charged Tuesday, Robinson had stopped cooperating with investigators. The suspect's father turned him in late September 11th, around 30 hours after Kirk's death. Patel said Tuesday's hearing that pictures posted to the FBI helped identify the suspect. Yeah. So, these people are evil. And we're just going to kind of talk about how it would not be unheard of. I mentioned it briefly yesterday, but there is a trans cult that quite literally wouldn't surprise me if there was a huge group that knew all about this. With all the stuff that's coming out about this, it would not surprise me if there were several people who knew about this that were kind of like pushing in this direction. Because remember that Zizians, what we know about the cult linked to 6 deaths. A cult-like U.S. group known as a cult-like group, it is a cult, known as the Zizians, has been linked to a string of murders, sparking several arrests. Who are the people behind this group, and what do they believe? Jack Lasota, 34, who allegedly leads the group, and a few dozen followers known as the Zizians, was arrested Sunday along with Michelle Jacko, 32, and Daniel Blank, 26, on charges of including trespassing and obstruction. Authorities say they are investigating at least 6 killings across the U.S. and that are allegedly connected to the murders of the group, including a double homicide in Pennsylvania, a knife attack in California, and the shooting of a U.S. border guard in January. 3 other alleged members of the group are already charged with murder. Yeah, and we already talked about all this. Said they faked this. The leader faked his death. They had one of the members trying to kill their mother and father to get like their insurance money, to get their life insurance money. All sorts of crazy stuff. These people are crazy. This is the guy that they killed in California who was letting them stay on their property, I think like almost rent-free. And they killed him. Said it's evil. It's absolutely evil. There's the Border Patrol agent that they killed. I mean, absolutely insane. They will go to the lengths to, protect their own. These trans cultists, and that's what this trans organization is. It is a cult. It is a sick, twisted cult. All right, then here we go. We have more on this. Tyler Robinson's chilling confession to his trans partner about Charlie Kirk's murder. You are all I worry about, my love. Tyler Robinson confessed to the murder of Charlie Kirk in a chilling text messages with his trans lover hours after the allegedly carrying out the assassination, and left him hidden note confessing to the plot, prosecutors said. Less than 3 hours after September 10th killing, the 22-year-old told his live-in partner, Lance Twiggs, that he had been planning the killing for about a week, according to the indictment filed Tuesday. Nope, go away. We don't want the player. Okay. No! I hate commercials. Okay. He messaged Twig, drop out. What are you doing? Look under my keyboard. Drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard. After the shooting, Kirk, from the rooftop of the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, Twiggs found the note reading, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it, according to the indictment. Robinson was charged Tuesday with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice. 3 total counts, yeah. Here is the text thread right here if you are watching, and I'm going to be reading back and forth between Robinson and Twig. So starting with Robinson, drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard. Text back, what? You're joking, right? I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hoped to keep this secret till the day I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. The exchange alleges that Twiggs knew all about Tyler's alleged role in the assassination more than 24 hours before he had been caught. Twig, whom authorities describe as a male transitioning to female, immediately texted Robinson asking him if this was some kind of sick joke. I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer. Shouldn't be long till I can come home. I've got to grab my rifle. And to be honest, I hope to keep secrets due to the day I die. Robinson allegedly wrote back. And Twiggs, I'm blah, 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 blah. We saw all this. We already done all this. In further messages, Robinson reveals that he stashed the gun, a scope with a 30-06 caliber hunting rifle belonging to his grandfather, in the bushes where he had frantically changed clothes. As he meant to double back and retrieve it, the cops had locked down the area, he wrote. I am worried that my old man will do if I didn't bring back my grandpa's rifle. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man, he allegedly wrote. Twiggs has not been charged with any crime, and authorities said that he is cooperating with the investigation. You are all I worry about, love, Robinson wrote to Twiggs before surrendering to law enforcement. Prosecutors will push for the death penalty, which could be carried out via firing squad if Robinson is convicted. Utah Governor Spencer Cox first brought up the intention to seek the death penalty just hours after Kirk was killed last Wednesday. To whomever did this, we will find you. We will try you, and we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law, Cox said, adding, I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty in the state of Utah. Yeah. So the left, who was hardcore pushing that this guy was a right-wing, person and had nothing, was not a left-winger, was not trans, was not all this stuff. They kept saying that he was a straight white male who came from a Christian conservative background. Well, Christian conservatives don't date trans people and usually aren't gay. So either dating trans or being gay. And they even tried to blame this on groypers. The left was trying to blame this on groypers, which, for those of you who aren't aware what a groyper is, let me get rid of this. I'll pull this up right here. Groyper. A groyper, sometimes called a groyper army, are a group of alt-right white nationalists and Christian nationalist activists led by Nick Fuentes. Groypers are loosely defined as a group of Fuentes followers and fans. They are named after the cartoon amphibian named Groyper, a variant of the internet meme Pepe the Frog. So, Groypers are white Christian conservative, supposedly white nationalist types, right? Well, by that definition, they would not be dating a trans person, living with them or anything. They would be attacking, by their logic, they would be attacking a trans person who goes against what they supposedly believe in. So, again, the left wing does not make sense with the narratives that they push out. How Charlie Kirk's killing sparked unfounded theories about the Groypers. This is even from Axios. Axios is a more left-wing outlet, and they're even debunking this. Soon after Charlie Kirk's assassination, some on the political left quickly spread baseless theories that the conservative podcaster was killed by a fellow ultra-right-wing group called the Groypers. Big picture, the internet sources for the Groypers skyrocketed last week as critics tried to connect Kirk's shooter to Tyler Robinson to the group's leader, Nick Fuentes, a podcaster known for his edgy, racist, and socially transgressive content. Yes, that is 100% true. We don't have to go completely into this article because I've already read what the Groypers are, but Nick Fuentes is a kind of a white nationalist guy, and he straight up does not like Charlie Kirk. Because Charlie Kirk tries to bring racial harmony, as we've seen from all the videos that I've shown you of Charlie Kirk trying to bring together trying to tone down racial tensions and bring more a harmonious group of bringing in conservatives and, left-wingers together. Whereas Nick Fuentes is like, no, we need to be separate but equal. That's what his logic is behind that. And that's what's going on here. So there's just a lot of weird and random stuff going on right now. And then, how we know that the left is just trying to push all these baseless claims. I have this article here. Blue Sky warns users not to celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination after dozens of horrific messages posted. Blue Sky warned users Thursday that celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination is a violation of its rules after dozens of posts on the platform. That's dozens. It's probably hundreds to thousands, because Blue Sky is Jack Dorsey, who made Twitter, is what he tried to do after Elon Musk bought X. It's Blue Sky is Jack Dorsey's little answer to X after Elon bought it, because he was all hacked off that a right-wing person bought X, so he made Blue Sky. And all the left-wing liberal types ran over to Blue Sky after Elon bought X. And it's only left-wing. Blue Sky is only left-wing. And it's been posting nothing but horrendous content about Charlie Kirk, evilness, and how, it's just sickening stuff that they've been posting. If you go to that and Threads are the two that you'll just see nonstop, like, evil posting about Charlie Kirk's death, like celebrating it. It's so disgusting. While some of the reactions to Charlie Kirk's assassination on Blue Sky condemned the murderer, many took the opportunity to rip the slain activist over his politics with a torrent of personal attacks. Author Wahante Ali called the shooting criminal and wrong and should be condemned, but added that Kirk is a horrible man who targeted marginalized groups, saying, "I refuse to sanitize him." The comedian John Flugesing wrote, "Do these idiots even realize that shooting Charlie Kirk makes you a worse person than Charlie Kirk? They were openly hostile," one user posted. "The person who motivated the shooting of Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirk. These people are evil." And like they're only showing here, like even on this New York Post, like they're only talking about the people who were, being like nice about Charlie Kirk. The rest of these were just bad. And the fact that the whole Blue Sky the moderators had to list, hey, we're going to start throwing out bans and stuff if you guys don't stop bad posting about Charlie Kirk, preaches a lot about what the left's intentions are here. But we'll get into kind of the more meat and potatoes of this, of these people just constantly, that the left is constantly willing to lie about what's going on. Here, again, I already showed this yesterday, but an account with 5 million followers on X posted a fake photo of the suspect Tyler Robinson wearing a Trump shirt and quietly follows up in a thread with the real photo. The fake photo, which has been deleted, gets 400K impressions in an hour, whereas the real one only gets 50K. So again, what we talk about is a lie will make its way around the world like twice before the truth has even had a chance to put its pants on and get out the door. This is absolutely insane that these people are willing to go to this. And this is what we're talking about, is like they're trying to blame this on the Groypers. They keep trying to say this is not a trans person that did this or a trans activist that did this. This was a right-winger. It's like, no. Everything that the left has been pushing about this guy being the shooter has been wrong, and the right has been right. Like, granted, he's not a trans person himself, but he's dating a trans person. He's in love with a trans person. He was living with a trans person. Kind of tells you where his political beliefs were. Then, which also brings up this right here, is just like there's a lot of evil in the world right now. It's like U.S. priests, exorcisms are on the rise as demons now haunt victims by text. And I'm a firm believer in evil, especially after now. I said, if you did not believe in evil, this should have changed. This said the killing of Charlie Kirk should have changed your mind. This evil one, all right, as Monsignor Stephen Rossetti watched the man in front of him. He saw the blue eyes turn yellow and the pupils shrink down to more mere dots. They looked, Rossi said, precisely like the eyes of a hissing snake. And then Monsieur knew that he knew what it really was. The man was altered appearance convinced him of the fact that he was possessed by a demon. Another time, a man's entire eyes turned jet black, recalled Rossetti. This does not usually happen, but when it does, it is very startling and absolutely demonic, he said. Battling demons forces is regular duty of Monsieur Rossetti, the Catholic priest who worked in 2 parishes in the Diocese of the Syracuse for 5 years. Now based in Washington, D.C., the diocese, he and his team perform up to 20 exorcisms each week, liberating people in homes from what he calls demonic and satanic evil. And the 70-year-old told the Post exorcism that have grown exponentially in the past decade or so in the United States, that have racked by discord and more moral crisis, is demonically oppressed. So, yeah. They said then, I've also watched a guy talk about exorcisms. Like, it's not like the movies, like where, you know, power of Christ compels you, there's floating and levitations, as they're much more just like going in, doing holy water, and then kind of calling it a day. They're extremely boring. Like I said, very rarely does stuff like that where, you know, you see the eyes roll back and all that stuff happen. It's just an interesting take on this. Like I said, would explain why we're just seeing some people just celebrating death so much in this world and in our country. It's so sickening. Just a theory. Okay, let's get on to the memes here that we're going to pull up. All right, what do we got here? Yep, we already talked about this. Charlie Kirk shooting. Says it was me. And again, like, it's a cult. Like I said, they protect their own. They are a cult of individuals that protect their own. Now, yes. And again, just more of this stuff. How many videos have we posted of just people just being horrible?
Of this tragedy, is this a moment for your party to reflect on political violence? Is it a moment for us to think about the responsibility of our political leaders and their voices and what it does to the masses as they get lost in misinformation or disinformation?
Yeah, sure. Let's reflect on dangerous rhetoric, shall we?
Into what I call the basket of deplorables. They're racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
You said over the weekend, referring to it, there's a direct parallel to a big rally that happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square Garden.
Well, look,
you were comparing that rally to a Nazi rally?
Look, I'm comparing it to the hate that came out of this, and I think they confirmed that.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. See it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
Michelle says that, you know, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
And we're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish his term.
Yes, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Speaking of this tragedy,
where is the right-wing equivalent of that? If there was videos of a bunch of conservative Congress people, senators that were doing stuff like that, it would be all over the news on a regular basis saying, this person is calling for violence. How dare they? We should have them removed and impeached immediately. So, which is why I'm going to bring up this next video here, which this is a black person that one of Alex Jones' InfoWars people goes around to the Democrat. This is during the presidential election, and he goes around and she's like, "Here, I'll bring you over to the Trump side and see what you think, and then I'm gonna go walk around on the, the Democratic Party side and see how they treat me. Let's see how the Republicans treat you versus how they treat me. And it is a great social experiment. Check this out. Like, this is the difference between the two parties. Watch this.
This man tested the difference between Democrat and Republican rallies, and the results speak for themselves.
The Trump people, they just don't want to see it.
Hey, I wanted to take you over here with me to the Trump supporter side, and maybe you can show me if there is racism over here. He wants to know if he's going to be safe inside there if he goes.
Yeah, come on in. You go with us.
I will welcome you with open arms.
Hold on, a few more, I might change my mind.
You're with us. That's all that matters. Black, white don't mean shit.
Now, I'm going to go over with the demonstrators with him, and he's going to follow me around and see if I get treated with love and tolerance.
You're a fucking Nazi bitch.
Why don't you go over there? Everyone can hear what you're saying. You can, bitch. That's who I'm talking to. I don't think become black.
You don't become black.
This man tested the difference between Democrat and Republican.
As you can imagine, it didn't go very well, and they started berating him for hanging out with her, as you can see in that last little bit right there. So, which side is the more tolerant side? You got to ask yourself. That he was pretty much safe when he went over there to the conservative side, to the Trump-supporting side. The moment that they stepped over there, and they even thought that he was a Trump supporter, because they knew she was. If she's an InfoWars reporter, they knew she was. But the fact that they thought that he was with her, they went on the attack. They immediately went on the offensive. The left is the evil side. They pretend like they're tolerant, but they really hate you. They only show tolerance to people that they see as victims or people on their side. That's it. They are playing for their team. They are batting for their team and only for their team. That's all they do. Oh, man. And just like they constantly side with evil. Democrats constantly side with evil. So let's look at this right here. This is Dinesh D'Souza's, one of Dinesh D'Souza's movies or documentaries. And it says, why the alliance between the left and Islam? And this is a guy who used to be a terrorist. So let's check this out.
Here's a paradox. In America, we have a political left. It's a progressive left. As you know, it's sexually permissive. And this political movement appears strangely allied with radical Islam. Can you explain this?
When I was an extremist, Islamist, fundamentalist, I would only vote left.
Why is that?
I saw them as very stupid. I would fear the conservatives because they come with principle. That's not someone they can brainwash. But the left, I know they have no values and no principles to begin with. I dare you to find one Islamic extremist that votes for Donald Trump. Never do it. They'd give their vote to the leftist who wants to run around in pride parades. And Islamic extremists are against gays and homosexuals and transgenders, but they want the left to go and get busy with that. They want them, go speak about the climate, go speak about abortion, go kill yourselves, go do that. Ilhan Omar, she's fighting for abortion rights, and all the other, my body, my choice, yes, go do that. But would she have an abortion? Never. Never. Would she kill a Muslim in her stomach? Never.
What is the fundamentalist and jihadi agenda for America?
The future of America has to be Muslim.
Here's a paradox. In America, we have...
They side with the leftists because they have no morals and no principle. People who have no principles, you can make their principles be whatever you want. You can change and make and mold it into whatever you want to be. The right has principles. The right has morals. It's hard to convert people who have principles and morals. People who have none of those things are completely manipulatable. Completely manipulable. It's sickening stuff. Truly sickening stuff. Then we have this right here, where, like I said, we get proof that these left-wing activists are paid protesters or are paying protesters. Check this out. It's like the left breaks every single rule when it comes to politics, and they get away with it.
To Officer Bird right here, okay? I'm exposing one paid protester for every 100 followers that I get. This is Nate Knopf. He gets paid between $80,000 to $110,000 to do this exact thing. He identifies as a they, them, but unfortunately we only saw one Nate. He was actually my handler at the Labor Day protest. And eventually that led us to a situation with the cops, but we'll get to that in a second. Nate is a prominent member with the Democrat Socialist of America Atlanta chapter. Here he is meeting with the Cuban ambassador, enjoying a beer while laughing with the ambassador. He's an Atlanta delegate to the National DSA convention where they endorsed Zohran Mamdani, once a proud DSA member. In fact, most of Mamdani's team is made up of DSA members like Nate. Nate is the chapter's recording secretary and electoral committee co-chair. He helped elect Gabriel Sanchez as the first socialist in Georgia. And now he's organizing voter outreach to elect Kelsey Bond as the first socialist on Atlanta City's council, paving the way to replicate Mamdani's mayoral run in Atlanta. So what was Nate's job at the protests in Atlanta that I attended? To be with me the entire time in order to make sure no protester engaged with me because I'm a right-winger. Here he is constantly trying to prevent my cameraman from filming. I have a handler at a protest. That's kind of ridiculous. She doesn't want to talk to you. That's okay. Are you going to now speak on her behalf? I'm still allowed to engage if I want to, right? You know that, right? Nate wouldn't tell us how much he gets paid, but we know he does. As a top operative for the DSA, he is unionized under CWA, Washington Baltimore News Guild, where they pay organizers like Nate between $80,000 to $110,000 a year. In fact, here's a job listing for a professional protester where they'll pay you between $80,000 to $103,000 to organize and represent. This position also comes with various benefits like health and paid days off. For the confrontation with the cops, make sure to follow for part 2. If you get closer, I have it on camera. I'm coming right back to Officer Bird right here, okay? I'm exposing one paid protester for...
Sickening stuff. Absolutely sickening stuff. It's like the left will side with evil and do evil things. Pay protesters to go out and block freedom of speech, to do whatever they can to manipulate and not make their side look stupid or exposed. That's what he was doing right there. If the right was caught doing something like that, the left would nonstop talk about it for days. I mean, I'm going to have the tenant media thing come back up. We're going to do like a rework of the tenant media thing because Lauren Chin won her court case. The court case was completely dismissed because it was propaganda. It was a left-wing smear campaign against them, is what it seems like. It seems like it was a psyop by the Democrats to silence conservative influencers on YouTube. And we're going to talk about that later, too. So first, we're going to go back to this. Is like talk about this girl talking about the People's Conference for Palestine right here. Just talk about how these people side with evil. The left and Democrats side with evil every single time.
On American soil, terrorists took the stage and trashed the country hosting them.
The thing to do is to destroy the idea of America in Americans' heads.
It's called the People's Conference for Palestine, which thousands of people attended. And what they were cheering for should terrify you. This isn't a peace conference. It's a gathering of radical activists, terrorist-linked organizations, and people glorifying violence under the banner of liberation. They invited actual terrorists, like Hussein Shahim, a convicted terrorist who built a cell in Jerusalem and was sentenced to 27 years for attempted murder. He was recently released in a hostage deal and was still invited to come speak. Here's what's actually being said at this conference.
We all know who they are, whether they are in Israel, in Washington, in Europe. They need to be taken out. They need to be neutralized. Now it's time to escalate.
They preach martyrdom.
Salute to our martyrs, those who are killed but never die.
They incite hatred towards America.
We live in an evil country. That's just what's happened.
They push rhetoric going against the West, socially, ideologically, and politically, to cheer for sentences like this.
Liberation, never peace. That's the white man's word, peace. Liberation is our word.
Does that sound like they want peace? They're romanticizing war, and they're turning this into a cult-like experience where people are continuing to be radicalized. And then, we see applause erupting when somebody says something like this.
I can tell you, I'm more Palestinian than I am American.
This isn't activism. This is a whole event made to radicalize a group of people under the guise of liberation for the oppressed.
Every
every sector of society must become a front for confronting Zionism.
And it's funded by organizations directly tied to terrorism. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition was literally led by a Hamas operative. The AMP is under investigation for terror ties, and Code Pink has a long record of working with terrorists and oppressive regimes like Iran. We're living in a world where right and wrong are being blurred on purpose.
We need to retake the universities. We need to neutralize and silence these corporate media.
Where saying peace gets booed, but calling for jihad gets applause. Where blatant hate is being branded as activism and nobody calls it out.
Find that anger within your heart.
Where the people in this conference are using the right of free speech given to them by America to incite violence in America.
We wanted to globalize the Intifada.
This is not liberation. This is dangerous and it needs to be stopped. On American soil, terror.
Yeah. The evil of the left. The absolute sickening evil of the left. And then this one that we showed the other day, I still can't believe this one's real.
Donald Trump died? Second best news.
The vice president died?
Okay, third best news.
That Elon Musk died?
Okay, no. Nobody died. My best friend's getting married. I have the best news ever.
What? Donald Trump died?
Second best news.
The vice president died?
Sick. Sickening people. These people live amongst us. And again, the whole thing where they tried to make it to where Charlie Kirk was a groyper is like, this is why the groypers don't like Charlie Kirk right here. I showed this the other day, but I'm going to show it again. This is why the groypers don't like Charlie Kirk. Like, Nick Fuentes did not like Charlie Kirk.
Would you say that black-only dormitories is wrong?
It certainly creates a sense of community. I don't see any problem with that.
Are there differences between races?
No, not biologically.
Then why would we have different dormitories for races?
Culture.
Segregation is what you're arguing for, my friend.
No, sir.
How is it not segregation to have blacks in their own dorm? Ibram X. Kendi argues, who is one of the leading thinkers of critical theory, discrimination today to atone for discrimination of yesterday. We have black-only graduation ceremonies at Columbia University, black-only dormitories across the country, for example, at Western Washington University. Can you join me today in saying black-only dormitories are evil, wrong, and it's segregation? Would you support white-only dormitories?
Everybody has a choice.
So I think white-only and black-only anything is evil and wrong. That's why I hate critical theory and critical race theory, because when it's put in practice, you start to discriminate people based on race. So we're now south of the Mason-Dixon line in North Carolina. We did a lot of work to get rid of segregation in this country. Why are you trying to bring it back?
What work?
The Civil Rights Act of 1964.
In this state?
Yeah, actually in this state. Are there black-only bathrooms out there I'm unaware of, or white-only bathrooms?
Nah.
Right. A lot of work was done in this state.
Fuck you, your face is small.
Well, thanks for being here. They always go to insults when they lose the argument. God bless you, my friend. Would you say that...
Yeah, the groypers would be all for segregation. Charlie Kirk was not, as we just saw right there. So it was not a groyper. Then again, the T-shirts here, the sickening T-shirts here that they make, just like, how are you guys the good guys? How is the left the good guys here? The left claims to be so tolerant, so peace-loving, but they constantly do crap like this. Evil. Absolute evil. And they prove themselves every day just how evil they are.
For a culture that...
And like I said, they're not right in the head. Trans people are not right in the head. They have mental health issues. And the left constantly is trying to get rid of the fact that they have mental health issues. I mean, first time in history the left started defending gun rights is when Donald Trump was like, maybe we should make a law where transgender folks can't own firearms. And then the left came out and like, no, they're trying to take away their freedom to own firearms, which first time in history the left has ever defended firearms.
The Denver shooter was trans, the Aberdeen shooter was trans, the Nashville shooter was trans, the Philadelphia shooter was trans, the Iowa shooter was gender fluid, the Colorado STEM school shooter was trans. I mean, this is not unique, and we need to be praying for a culture that endorses mental illness and celebrates it. The Denver shooter was trans.
Yep. Then again, just more proof that the left sides with evil at every turn. His nonprofit pays bail for a man who attacked his wife. Hours later, he murders her. Freedom Project right there. That's what the Freedom Project does. Remember that guy that they interviewed on Joe Rogan? Where there's like, yeah, you got out. I said, I didn't kill nobody. And then like it shows him like decapitating somebody and then hiding their body parts in trash cans all around New York or wherever it was. Evil. The left sides with evil at every turn. That's why they're defending.
Okay, you need to be gutting them. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. What the fuck is this shit, man? Slice them up on there, okay? You need to be gutted.
That's Hassan Biker. That's what everyone calls the Charlie Kirk of the left. So peaceful. He was also featured in that Palestinian little video that we just watched. He was a speaker there. Why does the left always side with the anti-American sentiment? At every turn. It's because they have no morals. They side with evil at every turn. Evil, if you don't believe in evil, they side with our enemies. They side with America's enemies. At every turn.
Tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Let me ask you tonight.
Don't think that rhetoric, do they think that rhetoric didn't lead to people thinking that America's in so much danger from conservatives, from Christian conservative types, that they wouldn't attack people for it? You keep calling people Hitler for so long, someone's going to do something about it, and the left won't take responsibility for it. Just proof that they are so evil.
The left comes up to the mic, let's treat them with respect. Let's not interrupt or scowl or boo them. Show the left the respect that we don't get on these college campuses.
So you do not hate the LGBT community, and Turning Point is not against LGBT?
No, how could I hate that which I have a heart for?
Thank you.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make. But of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. But if you ask me, what do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not. You will never be the best version of yourself if you allow other people to convince you that you can't be better because of your skin color, because of your sexual identity, because of the community you came from. You must resist those narratives at all costs if you truly want to be successful.
Dad wanted me to ask you. He said, would you still be a white supremacist if you were in a more diverse work field?
Do you think I'm a white supremacist?
I have no idea if you're a white supremacist. My dad has watched a lot of you. He said if you weren't out here preaching hate and working on your three-pointers, do you think you would probably be better at that?
You should be ashamed of your father.
I'm definitely not. My father's an amazing man.
Yeah.
He cares about American citizens.
Your father
and all
peddles
of their rights.
lies. I'm not a white supremacist. Honestly, shame on him. For someone that runs an organization called Blexit, do you even know what Blexit is?
I do not.
It's literally, we employ 40 black Americans that work in Atlanta, Chicago, and Philadelphia, trying to improve the well-being of inner-city black America. What has your father ever done for inner-city black America other than call me a white supremacist? And by the way, secondly, it's just so ridiculous. It's like it's somehow
people for your companies or whatever you do does not make you a white supremacist.
What is a white supremacist?
A white supremacist is somebody who takes advantage and believes that they are higher than everybody else.
Do I believe that?
I have no idea.
Okay, exactly. And so there's no evidence whatsoever, and yet people go around sloppily saying, you're a racist, you're a white supremacist. It is so destructive to our dialogue. It's destructive to us coming together as a country, and there's nothing to support it whatsoever. The left comes up to the mic, let's treat them with respect.
That is how you're supposed to do debates and be civil, and the left does not do that. The left is violent. The left tries to silence. The left protests. They don't come and debate. So crazy. See, you're starting 2012. Sociologists began picking up a new trend. White progressives were becoming obsessed with race, slavery, and white supremacy, largely driven by liberal media exponentially increased its focus on this issue. Sociologists called this the Great Awakening. That's what Trump is fighting. Of where Hispanics and blacks Americans were on this issue, they found that the media had, that's all there is.
Starting around 2011, 2012, sociologists started to notice a shift in white liberal opinion polling to where white progressives became more extreme in their views on race than black and Hispanic Americans. And they called this, the sociologists did, called it the Great Awakening. And when they postulated, where did this come from? Why did white progressives suddenly start obsessing over race in a way that was actually far to the left of where Hispanic and black Americans were on this issue? They found that the media had shifted radically how it talked about these issues. So, for example, in 2010, the words white supremacy were mentioned 75 times in the Washington Post and the New York Times.
But the media is different from museums.
In 2020, the words white supremacy were mentioned 700 times in the Washington Post and the New York Times and 2,400 times in NPR. The word racism, 4,000 times in 2020. The words white and racial privilege from 2013 to 2019 grew by 1,500% in the New York Times and the Washington Post. And the word slavery itself exponentially skyrocketed as a percentage of words. I'm offering this only to suggest.
I understand. I'm just wondering what do you think is the problem with talking about slavery, white supremacy, racism, etc.?
So the point I'm trying to make here is that liberals will say, well, this is a reflection of reality. But of course it isn't. This is a reflection of a newfound obsession that was driven by the media. And that doesn't reflect either the moral evil of these things or the historical accuracy.
I do want to dive into what you mean by that, because you say that you don't think it's a reflection of reality. Based on what?
Well,
based on the idea that those things don't exist, that white supremacy doesn't exist, racism doesn't exist, that we shouldn't be talking about it anymore?
Based on the idea, obviously all these things I think are evil, but there's not more slavery now to the tune of
but I think part of the problem,
Batya, is that in the
hold on a second, Bakari. Part of the problem is that back, not that long ago, in the 50s, the 60s, even beyond that, when there was actual Jim Crow happening in this country, people were actually treating black people as second-class citizens. We weren't talking about those things at all.
But in
those words were virtually never mentioned.
Abby, you don't
is that better? Was it better then, or was it worse?
You don't think that 2013 is the same as the 1960s,
But you're missing,
right?
Respectfully, and I've had this debate many
times. Do you really think that there's as big a difference between the 1960s and
I don't. That's not my point. My point is that the use of the language in present day, or the lack of the use of the language back when racism was apparent every single day in the streets of America, doesn't reflect really anything except perhaps a better awareness of the reality that we live in as a country.
Starting around 2011.
So, this was manufactured. The media manufactured this because it knew it got clicks. Racial division gets clicks. The Rodney King thing was the most watched thing. The Rodney King beans were the most watched thing on the news at that time. It's the same thing now. That's why anytime that we see a white on black incident, it gets driven up. The Daniel Penny effect is real. Like, Daniel Penny's got wall-to-wall media coverage after he choked out Jordan Neely. And what happens with that little Ukrainian girl that gets killed on the subway train? Nothing from the mainstream media whatsoever, other than talking about how the right wing is reacting to that. It's because the media jumps on white on black violent narratives. It's what they do. Yeah, Charlie Kirk was the moderate position. That is 100% true. And we're getting to this point where we're getting into dangerous territory here. I didn't want to start doing political cartoons, but here we are. I'm tired of the evil. Let's talk about this. Right-wing, Trump supporter type. He goes, it's not your fault. He made you angry, says MSNBC. Yeah, that cartoon hits hard. It's absolutely ridiculous. How the middle became right. Both sides make good points. The left pushes the guy in the center, goes, are you all right? And he goes, why are you siding with the bad guys? That is 100% true. The left always sides with evil. The left is evil. And this is what brings up the conspiracy that there are people on the ground. I mean, this is part of the reason, too, is like that guy on the ground that they arrested on the scene, the old man that claimed that he was the shooter that was yelling, kill me, kill me. He was trying. He actually said when he was arrested, he was trying to make a distraction so the shooter could get away, is what he said now. And then guess what? He's been convicted of having child pornography on his computer. So I'm going to pull that video up real quick. I just got to find it real quick. There we go. Pull it up over here. Whoop. There we go. Here it is. The old man who falsely claimed that he shot Charlie Kirk is now being accused of a sickening crime.
In the chaotic first few moments following Charlie Kirk's assassination, an older bald white man, handcuffed by cops, seemed to be the prime suspect. Now authorities have revealed that while he wasn't guilty of killing Kirk, he is being charged with something that will turn your stomach. In a sickening news release, the Utah County Sheriff's Office said that 71-year-old George Zinn has been charged with 4 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, after investigators found over 20 images of kids as young as 5 years old on his phone, in which they appeared at least partially naked and in sexual poses. The agency went on to say that Zinn had admitted that he gets sexual gratification from viewing and sharing child pornography with others, and that his preferred victim age is 5 to 12 years old. Zinn captured the attention of authorities on September 10th when Charlie Kirk was fatally shot in front of a crowd at Utah Valley University. According to Utah's Fox 13, court records revealed that Zinn falsely confessed to murdering Kirk by yelling at cops, "I shot him, now shoot me." Zinn later claimed that he was attempting to distract the police from the real shooter. There is no current evidence that Zinn and suspect Tyler Robinson had any connection or were working together on this scheme. In the immediate aftermath of the assassination, Zinn's image spread across the internet, with many believing he was the one who pulled the trigger. Before the shooting, Zinn was already known to authorities. According to Salt Lake City County District Attorney Sim Gill, the political troll is infamous for being a gadfly who attends many political events and is almost always thrown out for his odd behavior. Zinn has racked up a number of trespassing arrests at events like film festivals, protests, and political rallies. Most ominously, he spent a year in the can in 2013 for threatening to bomb the Salt Lake City Marathon, according to reports. Police are now saying his false confession delayed the investigation into Kirk's killing and needlessly took up law enforcement resources at a critical juncture in the probe. For that, he has already been charged with a second-degree felony of obstruction of justice, on top of the latest stomach-turning charges of child exploitation.
He's a sick bastard is what he is. And then which also leads us back to I was talking about, I was like, why are all these liberals the ones who are trying to do these gender-neutral bathrooms for schools and all that? Man leading the fight on all bathrooms gender-neutral is also a convicted child molester. The man's a Democrat. A party that has no principles, that has no morals, welcomes in evil. As we just saw from the former extremist terrorist guy, like jihadists and terrorists will infiltrate the Democratic Party because they know that they have no principles. They can't do it to the right because the right has principles. They're like, no, we can't do that. That would be wrong. The Democrats don't have any quandaries of doing things that are wrong. Evil. That is evil. Like I said, and again, here we are. And they're just following they're just following their Lord and Savior Barack Obama's orders here. I mean, this is what happened to Charlie Kirk. What is about to be said right now is what the left has done to Charlie Kirk. Approved by Barack Obama.
If you want propaganda to be effective, you don't have to convince people that what you are saying is true. You just have to flood the zone with so much poop. They used a different word, but you have to flood the zone with so much untruth constantly that at some point people don't believe. If you want...
So, lies. Lie about somebody and just keep posting articles and news things about it until the people believe it. That is the Democratic narrative. That is the Democratic motto. If there was anything that the Democratic Party knows how to do, it's that right there. Which brings me to the next point. Let me see if I can find that video real quick. I know I have it over here. Hang on one second. There it is. This act changed everything. This is how Barack Obama could get away with this, lying about Donald Trump legally. Check this out.
So in 2013, it was legalized in the United States to propagandize its citizens. What? Like, that's some scary third world stuff going on. That's the kind of stuff that people use to topple governments, to take away freedoms.
Yes, you heard that right. Almost a decade ago, propaganda was legalized in the United States with the passage of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which you've probably never heard of. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was buried in the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act for a good reason, because it repealed the 1948 Smith-Mundt Act, which authorized the State Department and the mainstream media to engage in propagandizing foreign countries, but it prohibited releasing that same propaganda in America for public consumption. This prohibition was lifted when the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was signed into law by Obama.
Very simply, Obama gave it a reboot in 2012. So, no matter how outrageous the propaganda may be, it's completely legal.
Propaganda, in other words, a false narrative, for whatever specific purpose, is now much, much easier to perpetrate on the people.
Due to the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which went into effect on July the 2nd of 2013, scripted and orchestrated propaganda can now be presented to the American public as factual news.
Evil. That is what the left did to Charlie Kirk and to Donald Trump. And it's why these narratives persist, that this Donald Trump is this evil white ring national socialist, crap like this. Evil. Absolutely evil. The left does not play by the same rules the right does. They've been cheating all along, spying on things. That's the big thing, is like they just found out that from a testimony from Kash Patel today that they were spying on Turning Point USA as a right-wing extremist group again. It's not only did they wiretap Donald Trump before he ran for president in 2016, they were spying on Turning Point USA. Evil. These people are evil. Look right here. Actually, the First Amendment lets me desecrate the flag when I want. And it shows them driving over and skid marking over a frickin' Pride sidewalk. Police! Stone toss, crushing it again, as per usual. Again, siding with evil. Governor Gavin Newsom signs bill reducing penalties for sodomy with minors. That's siding with evil. This is the people that they think is going to be the next president, and he wants minors to be sodomized. He's allowing minors to be sodomized. Already played that. Yeah, that's not relevant, but still interesting. Approximately 85% of all the world's refugees are Muslim, but they don't seek asylum in the 56 Muslim countries. They only seek asylum in non-Muslim countries. But why? How interesting. Just showed that one, so I did have that one on there. It's called free speech. Cry about it, fascists. This is hate speech. This flag represents me. Arrest them. Evil. Absolute evil. Rules for thee, but not for me. Yeah. Oh, this one's great. Yeah, this more proof that the left is evil. Said, in 2019, Aaron Burnett wanted to make sure that there was no way for Paul Manafort to escape the seriousness of the mortgage fraud charges. In 2025, mortgage fraud. Really? This is CNN.
These New York charges, residential mortgage fraud, among them, one of the most serious. So he's looking at 1 to 3 years minimum, 8 to 25 years maximum. These are huge ranges. But those would be inescapable, right? There's nothing a president can do to pardon on a state charge. Mortgage fraud by public officials. Mortgage fraud. This is a specific charge, and it is Trump's new weapon being used against many enemies. A way to penalize, remove, perhaps even jail them. These New York...
How embarrassing. How embarrassing. But that's the left. They have no principles. This was barely 5 years ago. It was like, oh, it's no big deal. When Trump does it, it's a big deal. When somebody on our side does it, what a joke. What a joke charge. I can't believe they would charge somebody with that. Evil. True evil. Just don't forget, old fat little Pritzker over here, J.B. Pritzker here.
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking.
But Donald Trump. Let's not talk about my crime and my shitty. Let's talk about Donald Trump. Every time. And again, we were talking about this. Mainstream media silent when this poor Ukrainian girl is stabbed to death by this crazy, felon, this African-American felon. But media, when Daniel Penny tries to protect people on a train, choking out a crazy black felon. Interesting. Yeah, but this is what I'm talking about, where the media is constantly trying to rile up racial tensions because it gets clicks, it gets views, people want to see it. So stupid. Yeah, there is no such thing as a transgender child. British authorities warn that there's a man on the loose in the streets threatening to share an opinion. Yeah, this hits hard, really hard now after Charlie Kirk's death. Warns of a man on the loose threatening people with opinions. Sickening stuff. And just remember the left for years, like, we need to stop having children for the environment. Africa, come to Europe because the population is in decline. Make it make sense. It's either we have too many people in the world or not enough. It's not both. If you knew that if Christians acted more like Jesus, everybody would love you. They crucified Jesus for telling the truth. They shot Charlie Kirk for telling the truth. If you tell the truth, they will hate you. The enemy will hate you if you tell the truth. So, kind of talking about how we were talking about how crucifixions were on the rise. I just thought this was interesting. I already showed this before once again too, but I just find
this is the most overt demonic activity I've ever seen chronicled in the national news. I've never seen anything like it. I'm going to show some disturbing images. This transgender dude, now remember, he's targeting Christian children. Look at the things that are written on the gun clips that he used to kill Christian children. So you got here, for the children. Go to the next one. He wrote on it, "Where is your God?" Okay. Go to the next one. "Israel must fall." So we're noticing a pattern here. Okay, this is a person who is feeling not gendered, non-binary, whatever you want to say. Interestingly, in the Bible, guess who is not gendered in the Bible? Angels and demons. They are non-binary. They are gender fluid. They're targeting children. They're targeting Christians. They're targeting the land and the lineage of the Lord. Well, this is starting to sound a little creepy. I wonder what's going on here. Go to the next one and look at what this dude was using for target practice. It's literally a picture of the crucified Lord. Now let's go a layer deeper because it gets a little creepier. This is the next one, is this drawing that he had in his notebook of him looking in a mirror with a demon looking back in the mirror, and then there's all this writing, and this is a translation of the writing, and the translation is, who, when will this end? So you have a tortured person, an oppressed person. Help me. I don't want to. Help. And then what's the demon say back? Kill yourself. Kill. Listen, bro, sometimes the greatest argument for the existence of God and the truth of Christianity is the very obvious existence of demons. That's that right there. It's literally like somebody opened the Bible and went, what do demons do? And then they did that thing. So every Christian should see this stuff and we should go, hey man, I know exactly what that is. The book of Ephesians says, our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. And then it says, but greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. This is the most
100%. And more people celebrating. I mean, I've had about enough of people celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Just enough of it. Just remember, spot the difference between the Charlie Kirk vigil versus the George Floyd riots. We are not the same. And the left will constantly say, well, the right does it too. Well, the right does it too. Where is it? Charlie Kirk was a national icon. George Floyd was a nobody until the news media blew it up. Blew that up out of proportion. Charlie Kirk was beloved all around the United States of America and around the world. And there's no rioting. There's no violence on our side. Where is the equivalent? If some left-wing person died, there would be riots in the street right now. So stupid. And again, that guy that was helped him and was like trying to let him get away. This is why people think that there is more people behind this. Like they think that there was a network cabal of people on the ground, which I don't necessarily think that that's the case. But when you see shit like this, it really makes you wonder. This guy cheering that this happened. That is evil right there. That is true evil. Celebrating death. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Again, we talked about this yesterday. Every teacher celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination is also glorifying a school shooter. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Any teacher that's celebrating this, I think, tell your kids to take phones to school, record their teachers if they even remotely celebrate Charlie Kirk's passing. They need to be fired immediately because you're being taught by a sociopath, by a demon, a demonic person. Evil. And this is where we're at right now. This is where we are at. Yeah. We are not in a good place right now. We are not in a good place. Spiritually, we're not in a good place right now as a country. We need something to come together. We need these people being fired needs to happen. This is a good thing that these people are being fired. If you're going to fire someone for digging up tweets from like 10, 20 years ago, you're going to get fired for celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. You're a bad person. And it's time we start treating the left. It's time we start playing by the left's rules. If the left is constantly going to break every rule in the book to get one over on the right, we got to start doing it too, or we're just going to lose. We're just slowly ceding ground to them, and it needs to stop. It needs to be a line drawn. Like, you cross this line, we're coming after you. So that's pretty much all I've got for today. Sorry, that went way longer than I want, but anything about Charlie Kirk, sorry, just goes way longer because this is such a tragedy. Such a tragedy, such a great loss of life to someone who has influenced so many people around the world. And these people are just so evil. I mean, I cannot get over this. Like, I don't understand how you can be a Democrat anymore. At this point, it's like literally, if you're a Democrat, you're just a person who supports evil. But that's pretty much all I've got for today. This is Chad with Owasso Live. This was The Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's pretty much all I've got for today. God bless you, everybody.
Real that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one.